Hey guys, this is Odo Gaming. This is going to be another Infinite Magicraid video. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the emblems. Emblems are basically, if you ever played Raid Shadow Legends, for example, if you came from that game, they're kind of like the masteries of this game. And obviously, just kind of like in the Raid, just like with the Raid ones, emblems are actually really important because they can make a difference on your builds when you actually add the right stuff in it. They're a little bit complex maybe at start when you do them, because you're like, oh, what does this do, what does that do? But after you start doing like 3-5 people start building their own emblems, following tier lists and stuff, you're kind of gonna understand the way these ones go, and you will be able to figure it out yourself, because when you click every single one of them, it straight up tells you, like for example this one, it straight up tells you get 6% extra defense. Some of them can be a little bit confusing, I'll give you that. I had some issues with some of these ones. Like for example, there's one like this one, for example. When inflicting an attribute debuff, buff or debuff successfully, there's a chance to increase certain stuff. This might be like, you might have some question mark of like, okay, is this a debuff? Is this a buff? Is this an attribute? So it can be a bit confusing. However, usually you can tell if you like just click them. Let me see if I can find one, for example, here. Decrease defense, it says attribute debuff. So usually you can find that out yourself, but some might still be confusing. So I suggest maybe if you have some questions, just jump on the Discord and ask ask somebody in there like me and I can answer, or jump in the official Discord. There will always be somebody able to help you out there, because in the official Discord there's like a page there that tells you what's an attribute buff and debuff. Why did that disappear? Anyway, let's jump back to emblems. So for the sake of emblems, the thing with them is like, they're not necessarily extreme priority. Like when you access them, you don't have to like, okay, boom, let me straight up explode, I'm gonna do max right now. And at the same time, you can farm them even when they're not open. So for example, in order to farm emblems, give an example, my Slevel, I can still farm emblems for her, even though she's just level 100 not awakened. For example, my Maya, again, already has certain stages of the emblems. But one thing to keep in mind is you can farm for anyone, but you cannot use them, because you have to be first awakened, then level 2 awakened, then level 3 awakened, level 4 and level 5. So in order to access the highest tier of the emblems, and to get the best obviously stats, the best bonuses from the sake of the emblems, you need to have your heroes awakened to that certain level in order to do that. So for example, like we have today is one of those best moments to actually farm the emblems, because today if you go into the dungeon, if you go here to emblem challenge, you basically get 2 times emblems. What does this mean? This means that, for example, for 20 energy, for 20 stamina, I'm gonna call it energy from time to time, for 20 stamina, instead of getting 150 emblems, you're gonna get 300. This event will be going on for the next, I think it's 7 days, if you check here. Double emblems, boom, 7 days. I'm not sure, and I cannot 100% guarantee this, but I think this one comes around like once every month. So if you're not in a rush, or you're not desperate to get your champion, to get your heroes emblems, then I would wait up until this one comes around. Or now, if you're watching this video by the time that this double emblem is still out, what you can do, and what I suggest you should do, is you should plan accordingly and think about yourself like, okay, in the next 1 month, who am I going to be working on? Who do you think is going to be your next, who's going to be your next awakened? What are going to be the ones that will get the emblems, and farm them in advance, even though they might be like lower level. Maybe you cannot two-man it, for example, because like if I go here in the emblem challenge, I cannot do it with my Melia and Hezonja yet. They're not that good. If I had maybe Catherine with Hezonja, it might be a little bit easier, or some other combination, but because I cannot do stage 6, I just drop back to stage 5, and even this is still a lot more worth it because you get 2 times. So it's definitely better to just maybe farm them in advance up until you get them maxed, and then you have them ready, so when you start working and leveling them up, you already have the emblems from them. It might cost you a little bit of diamonds to use them right now, but it's definitely worth it, in my opinion, to use the diamonds to get the emblems for the people now, instead of waiting for later stage and then not getting double the value. Another interesting thing that I want to mention about the emblem challenge, and this is something that if you haven't played similar games that do this kind of system, and if you don't click the info over here, like, you know, who does that? I didn't click it. I just started playing the game, went through it, and came with the raid mentality. But one thing to keep in mind, as I was saying, I'm farming with two people, Melia and Hezonja. These two already have maxed emblems. What some people maybe do not know, such as, like, you know, our fellow content creator Goldie, shout out to Goldie, he's an amazing human being. He did not know, obviously because he didn't test it or hasn't played raid before, that you can use people that already have maxed emblems to help you farm extra emblems for lower level ones. So for example, you're not, even though you have max emblems on them, they're not going to be wasted. It just means that every single other emblem that you will be farming will go in the last one that you bring along, which in my case is Maya. So that's something to keep in mind, because that makes it easier for you. Because if you're now running that, you might be doing like poor Goldie was doing. He was doing stage 3 because he did not know that. Because like I said, if you haven't played games like this, you're not gonna know. I didn't know that myself when I played Raid Shadow Legends. I kept trying to combine and see what I can do to farm those masteries in that game. But yeah, obviously, if you do click this one, which like I said, I don't click. If you do click this one, it does say that emblem materials can only be distributed to the deployed heroes at random. After hero has gathered all the required emblem materials, let me move my big head, they can challenge the dungeon but will no longer receive any of the emblem material drops. So you're not going to be wasting that. So you can easily just keep going with that, and you're going to be, you know, you're going to be just fine. And it's going to make it easier for you to farm higher stages, because it gets better value the higher you go along. But yeah, that was one of the things this was the thing that I really wanted to talk about when it comes to the emblems. And one quick thing I want to mention: do not start farming the equipment and artifact goals. If you ever see something like this popping up, I mentioned in one of my previous videos, it's really important to focus the events and just hit the milestones at least, if you can. But always tries to be smart about this and double dip. The same way I suggest about, you know, being smart, getting as much from your resources as you can with doing the double emblems, do the same with this one. Do not start farming yourself gear unless you do some campaign, then whatever it happens. But I would suggest, maybe, you know, this might be logical, but maybe some other people didn't notice or not thinking about this, but I would suggest to wait till tomorrow when Negia starts. You know, always try to combine. If you have a different dungeon to farm at the same time with something like this, with equipment and artifact goals, because, you know, that might balance themselves out. If you're not sure when stuff like that happens, just click calendar, and here it shows you, at least for the next week, it shows you what other events are gonna pop. So this can be really, really helpful for you to choose, okay, where do I invest my resources in, and how do I do that? At the same time, one really smart thing that you can do, which I'm not doing because I'm a red dot killer. If I see a red dot, I have to click it. That is, if you're getting some quests in the battle order, for example, and you get to the point where you get the energy here, if you see that on the calendar some tournament or event is coming up that you want to farm, just don't collect that energy. Just click everything on the sides and leave all those energies in there to be ready for you to collect at a later stage. The same thing if you check in these ones, maybe you check and see the chest before, okay, this one gives me 500 energy. Okay, I will not collect that. I'm gonna keep that, you know. Obviously, if you're close to finishing it, you're gonna finish this. But if you're not, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm not gonna collect that. Like, whichever gives me energy, I'm just gonna keep it, and I'm gonna collect it at a later stage when I see that, you know, that's something that I wanna farm starts. But yeah, this is gonna be it for the video today. I just wanted, like I said, I just wanted to give you an overall idea about the emblems, what they do and how important they are, because trust me, the emblems take your characters to the next level. You know, it's kind of like the character is here. If you give them the right gear, they go here, and then if you give them emblems, they just go like to the higher level. And obviously the exclusives as well gets them to next tier. But every single thing is really important, and that emblems are one of those things that makes it extremely important, because you get some really good stats in there, and you know, some really other fun stuff that can help you advance in your content. If you're stuck in campaign, if you're stuck in Dwarven Ruins, Tower of Mark, wherever you are stuck, that can help you progress even more. But yeah, this is gonna be the video for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy the way that I tried to break down the emblem system, when to farm and what my suggestion is. If you disagree and you feel like you should do something in a different way, please do leave it in the comments below so I can see your opinion as well, and you know, I can do an updated video at the later stage, and we can, you know, we can share the best information out for the community. But If you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, because it's a baby channel. We're still trying to grow it, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care everyone. Bye guys.